Welcome to another GTM pod with friend Trevor Longino, and I am Charles Cormier. Trev, quick intro and get into the juice right there.
Sure, I build million-dollar marketing engines. I've done it 15 times, taken a startup from zero to more than 3 million annual recurring revenue. Now I run Crowd Tamers, and we've launched several dozen startups million-dollar marketing engine. I'm the only agency in the world I know of that offers go-to-market with a guarantee. So that's me.
And
And
that's a scam, would say Benny.
that's man, why do you gotta say that? Not a scam. I've yet to ever have to give my money back. Not that I refuse to do it. I've yet to have someone ask for it. So
All right,
anyhow,
three
it's a safe
points.
guarantee when nobody exercises it. So what I want to talk to you about here, Charles, is you run an agency, I run an agency, a bunch of people you talk to own and run
I run
agencies.
mine from jail.
You run yours from what looks like a jail cell today. Hey, look, my bookshelf that's been fake for years. I've started
That also
construction.
looks like a fucking jail, by the
It
way.
does a bit. It does a bit. I've got one 2x4 up. I've begun construction.
All right, the point. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries, no worries. So I've been identifying what it was I needed to systematize and operationalize. Those are both terrible words. To make it more of a business and less of I have a job that owns me. So the first one is your agency work needs to be small enough and repeatable enough that you can train people to do the work without you watching over it. One thing that's important to remember when you are building a team to do your work in an agency is 80% as good as you, but you didn't have to do it, is 100% better than if you had to do it yourself. So I think everybody in my team, they're all very good at what they do. Of course, I have an ego. I imagine I'd be better than them at their work, even though odds are by now probably I'm not. But regardless, I recently said to my team like a couple weeks ago, look, don't pass stuff to me for approval anymore. Just send it to the client because what I'm doing is making stylistic changes that the client may not care about, right? Let the client see. If the client thinks it's good, cool. If the client bounces it back because we were just completely wrong, then loop me in and I'll see if I can offer clarity. But if it's just, here's some revisions and stuff, don't involve me. Just do it. So almost all of the execution now in my team, because we really do one thing. We build million-dollar engines and we do it. I mean, I've got 11 clients right now we're doing it for, right? That's what everyone wakes up in the morning, sits down and does. And each person has their role. My writer, my designer, my developer, like they all tackle their piece of this. My media buyer, all these people. So they don't have to wonder, how do I do my part of the big task? It's all broken out. They all know what it is. They've all been doing it for more than a year. It just goes, right? Excellent. The second loop you have to have is sales must happen without you. And one way that this must happen for any agency owner, I've been making this transition. My sales always used to be very consultative. It would be, let's look at your messaging. Let's look at your website. Let's look at your ads. Let me see what you're doing. This is how I would tackle changing it. This is why you'd want to bring me in. This is the approach I would bring to it. Maybe you would find that valuable. And it works pretty well, but it requires you've been doing marketing for more than a decade to be able to sell it. And that you're fast enough on your feet to see a problem, identify a fix, explain it clearly enough for somebody who's not a marketer to understand, and then convince them to buy. That's not very trainable. The way I'm selling more and more now is, and this probably won't be like a revelation to you, Charles. I think you're better at sales than I am. But the Crowd Tamers Grow to Market system is a series of steps. This series of step works. The series of steps has worked dozens of times. You talk to somebody and you identify, look, here's the three common areas a startup struggles to bring in business. Which one is you? Awesome. Crowd Tamers solves those. Here's the process we solve them by. Not looking at your website, not talking about what you're doing. Just here is our engine, right? Would you find this engine valuable in your business? Yes, I would. Do you know what this engine is worth for your business? Oh, I don't know. What is it worth? Well, if I'm building $1 million engine, it's worth $3 million, right? That's the company valuation increase of $1 million in ARR. I've just set a keystone of $3 million for the value of working with crowd tamers. Now, any price I mention that's less than that sounds like a bargain. You're just gonna straight up drug out in the middle of a call. Cool, dude. I'm waiting to see you crush the pills and.
This episode has been sponsored by Magnesium Complex
Did
of
you just
Life
dry
Street
swallow that
Liquid.
shit?
No, with coffee.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
at
less.
least. I did an ultra hit of, I want your comments on that for the point number three. 2,100 jump squats, 1,100 push-ups, and 600 jackknives. I told you that yesterday, but you see how my
Yeah,
brain is fucked? It doesn't even remember. Is like,
yeah.
is
After
totally
that kind of
destroyed.
exertion,
Yeah.
your brain is just dumping everything. It sounds horrible. That's my thoughts on this in one sentence.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean,
point
I
number
did the
three.
21K that you bought for me right back
Yeah.
in April or May, whenever. I did that. That was fine. Like I was sore for a day or two afterward, whatever. That's a whole different level of WTF, mate, than the
Yeah,
thing
you
you
need
did.
like major magnesium to recover from that. I'm surprised though because I think I already did a version of it and I wasn't that destroyed, but I'm sleeping way less nowadays. Shout out to you for the tips on that.
I just had a conversation 2 weeks ago with somebody who's like, Trevor, if you're sleeping less than 7 hours a night, you're killing yourself. And I'm like, well, on a good night, I average five. He's like, you're killing yourself. You're going to die. I'm like, I've been this way for a decade. Anyway,
Yeah, your
um,
physiognomy, I guess, and what you got your brain used to, and some people also need to calculate in there that awake hours might be fun for someone. It's living more time and quality of life might be better than not, and sleeping. If your life sucks, yeah, spend it sleeping. If it doesn't, well, spend
that's
it
pretty
awake.
harsh. Hey, if your life sucks, sleep more. There's a pro tip. You're just skipping forward through the cutscene. Okay. Uh, So anyway,
Anyway,
three systems, right? So first one is work gets done. The second one is sales gets done. You have to systematize the sales. The sales needs to be packaged up where I'm still validating that my script works, right? I'm trying to be very disciplined about using this script, explaining the process, setting the keystone, and then naming the actual price. And that, I mean, I had a new client on board yesterday on that package. Um, Very easy sell, right? When I find the right client, they go, yes, this makes sense, then away we go. Once I've sold, 8 or 10 packages like this and the script is very solid, that's when I can say, great, I'm going to find somebody who's 25 in an economy that's more affordable than Canada and say, hey, how many calls can I book with this person with the qualified lead every week? And if they don't close but half of the calls that I would have closed, but I 5x their volume, I'm still way up, right? So that has to be systematized. And the last part is customer retention has to be systematized. And so my agency right now, my team is doing the work, I'm doing the sales. No one's paying attention to customer retention. My customer retention numbers are awful. My average client life cycle right now is maybe 6 months, right? That's just terrible for an agency.
I mean,
Uh,
that's better than 90% of agencies out there, by the
Maybe, but
way.
I'd argue it's not better than the ones that stick around for more than 3 years, right? Like most agencies fail pretty fast.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, I want to take 8 minutes of this call to give you
Yeah,
a presentation and you give me feedback on it. It's very early, so it'll be
do
perfect
it.
for you to give me feedback. And it also will show you like what I'm on to nowadays. So this is a presentation that I give for an affiliate group yesterday. By the way, this is not my niche, so I modified my actual product to affiliate. Um, so I go podcast flywheel, 75 pod interviews per week. You can comment on the aesthetics as well. It's really crappy. It's bare bones still. I did a good job yesterday, mostly because of my words. True cold email, right? And that's what your calendar would look like. My podcast get 100K SEO views per month. SEO salary is 426K vs $426 for TikTok users on a yearly basis. My goal, I'm known as the guy that wants to interview 10,000 CEOs a year, and I interview 15 CEOs a day. I was inspired to do that by Peter Rojas, that did 5,000 posts in a couple years and hit the 10K mark, I think. interviewed him on my podcast, CEO and founder of Engadget Gizmodo, and now um, product manager at Facebook Messenger, Insta DMs at Meta. So that's like authority, I guess. About my podcast, I interviewed more than 1,000 CEOs, including John Lee Dumas, Andrew Warner. This is what your calendar could look like. This is my tech stack. Then I get into like what each do. This is what a campaign looks like. Final product, with the open rate and the reply rate. This is the setup, super easy, light signature. Uh, Plug 5 mailbox per account, and I have 5 per Apollo accounts. I have a bunch. Basically, I have 50. And unsubscribe link. The copywriting looks like this. It is super simple. People overcomplicate things, and I started using the AI function. More on that later. It's about product market fit. So having a great product offering, having a great niche, and then you get product market fit. And again, it looks like this, and it looks like that. And then you add a backend to this whole thing with community, newsletter, LinkedIn posts, remarketing. And then I included affiliate because it was an affiliate conference. Looks like this. Some of my posts, my newsletter, my annoying newsletter, the views that I get on LinkedIn, the numbers of followers, and yeah, their titles. Then I go with a couple of AI tools, talk about AI affiliate stuff, affiliate specific stuff. Tell them about my service. Tell them I'm overbooked and unsubscribed. Tell them that I get these every now and then. And that's a real answer. That's a real one I got like last Thursday actually. But I rather get one fuck offs for 10 solid meetings and look like
Yeah, of
this guy.
course. That's the cold email game.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
All right, it's a bit repetitive. I think you
Well, that's
can.
on purpose, by the way. This slide here, just saying. It's like coming back constantly to something I want them to remember. The only caveat to this is that some people it might give them anxiety and not like.
Yeah, honestly, to me, that's a huge turnoff. But that's fine. I'm not your customer for this, right? I would never want like I fight now to try and keep 2 days with maybe one meeting at most, so that I can do work during those days, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also deliberately like my Mondays now. I try and have pretty light on work just so I can have a day to get my head together and be a little more intense about the rest of the week. So like what you're talking about to me sounds like if I were to do a line of cocaine every morning and then start my day like let's freaking go, maybe that would appeal to me, but that's not my lifestyle, right? So that's
Or
fine.
your brain. Yeah.
That's not my brain.
Because, yeah.
Um, that's fine. I'm not your ideal customer for this. I don't have to be. I do think the story, I do very much like the idea that my podcast system fills your calendar like this. Boom, right? Now, there are two things I would modify here. One is I would 100% be fine with getting a very personable human in my company who is able to pick 4 topics that I think really matter to the company, talk about them, and then fill up their calendar with this much discussion and this kind of reach, right? Like, if that's a possible thing to do, I might be game to do that. But I think most CEOs you talk to, almost all these meetings you're showing here are they're interviews, right? They're not
No, 50-50. Yeah.
okay. Well,
I
regardless, I
get
think
like
most
5 to 10 leads per day. Real
gotcha.
ones, like not yeah. But
I
it's
think
it's not fair
most
it's not fair to say that they would be second tier because I get folks that are, yeah, like big buyers that I would never get to speak to ever if
yes,
it
that's
wasn't for the
the
bug.
power of that podcast is they'll come on your podcast when they wouldn't do a cold pitch. I completely
Yeah.
get that. The problem is most CEOs don't want to spend even half of a day doing this sort of interview thing, right? So I think you need to find an answer to that. The
Yeah.
other thing I do like is when you show your tech stack slide,
Mhm.
there's a bunch of moving parts here. And you don't even have to show me how all this works. I look at this and I go, I'm never going to learn all these things, right? Like, I mean, I know that Namecheap and cPanel are all like a web host, and then Calendly and Google Calendar are very similar, sort of, and then SendGrid and Apollo IO. Like, I see how this all dovetails together. I know enough, but I would still go like, I'm never going to build this, right? So I like that you say, look how complex it is to make it as simple as your calendar is full with folks who want to interview you. I get that. But I would still want to see, you know, the comparison, right? This is the tech stack it puts together, but this is what you see when you work with us, which might just be like, here's your email inbox, right?
Right.
Something. Show me the flip side. Other than that, I mean, yeah, design could use some work. This is all impact font, black and white. The narrative reiterates a bunch of times. I think you can smooth that story out. I would start with, you know me well enough. I begin with a outrageous claim, something like, um, if I booked you 5 top quality CEO interviews a week, your business would make $2 million more next year. Like something like that begins with, very few people are going to turn down $2 million more next year, right?
Yeah, a bit
So,
more story as well. I think, like how why did I decided to start that? One note that I've taken listening to you here is that this may seem like work, but this is cash right there. You can imagine that every name has 1.5K dollar tag to and a 10% conversion rate.
well,
Um,
the other thing I would want to see here then is like, give me a second slide of this and just highlight every single name on that calendar
yeah,
that closed. So
okay,
if you show me, boom, these calls, boom, this many closed, boom, this much revenue, like then I get it. Okay, this is a numbers
calendar
game,
dollar
and show me how I make money with this.
calendar bank account. I'll call it. Yeah, this is like a bank account to me.
Yeah. So like
Um,
something there. And I think you've got like, this pitch works. It wouldn't work for me. I don't want to talk to people that much. I'm not that friendly. But
yeah,
some people love talking to people, and this would be their perfect day. Particularly folks who are running um, like many sales and marketing agency owners. They're way more people focused than I am. Working with my sales coach recently, we've really unearthed the fact that I don't give a shit about my clients. I care about the problems that they have, right? I want to fix their marketing. That's what makes me interested in their business. Them as people, I don't care about. And my sales coach is like, you need to pretend, Trevor. You need to pretend you care about them. And I'm like, but I don't. They would just shut up. We can get to fixing the problem, which is why they're talking to me anyway. He's like, no, Trevor, you've got to make the connection. I'm like, fuck the connection.
so
Whatever.
autistic. We're just a bunch of autists, except Johnny and Talal on this
I don't
mastermind.
know if you heard, Johnny's like, I'm getting out of the agency business.
Huh?
Johnny's getting out of running an agency. So the
The
only non
fuck?
autistic person in the bunch, and he's like, hey, I'm just going to do software sales. It makes more money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Talal is not well. Talal, yeah, is a bit out there too, but he's calm. Uh,
He's like, yeah, I'd say out of all of us, Talal's the one, Talal and Johnny, you look at and you go, oh, these are normal humans.
oh my god, this is funny. Maybe I should call it the autistic mastermind and get canceled.
No,
Um,
no, you would get so canceled.
yeah, well, I mean, I could get canceled from these comments today, but I am studying autism and this is the brain behaving in an odd way. The difference, though, in our case, I'm not sure. I was always somewhat weird, but I have recently taught myself to be even weirder, lately
Oh,
in the
good.
name of,
Yes. Foster
yeah,
the insanity.
yes. What about your agency? Like, are you still afloat? Are you still a happy pirate hunting for more pirates, or are
I
you being
am.
hunted down?
So I think I've talked about this before a bunch of places, maybe not with you. From
Yeah,
October to June, October last year, June of this year, every month I earned less month than the month before.
yeah, yeah. You told me that.
And July, I turned it around. July, I did about 60K. That's not
Okay,
bad.
yeah. Good
August, I
job, man.
had a strep infection in my knee, which I didn't know you could have that. But so I was sick. I was basically sleeping like
And you didn't
18
buy
hours a day.
my total defense supplement, which I rebought yesterday and asked my parents to ship once they come to my wedding here in 2 weeks.
Oh, Mazel Tov. I didn't know you were getting married.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks. But buy that supplement. It's serious. I'm
I
not
hear you.
saying it will prevent strep, but it will definitely strengthen your immune system. Um, but yeah,
In any
okay.
case,
Bottom
so
line, you're
August, I
happy
didn't
and
close any money
thriving.
because August was I was sick all of August. I made about 12K in August. In September here, I'm already at like 45, right? And today's the 20th, so I might well break 60 before the end of the month. So like
Good
things have
job,
turned
dude.
around. The offer I'm doing is working, uh, and
Back on track, man.
yeah, and credit to my team because they were like I share all our numbers and everything, so they've been watching the company slowly all go into the ground, and no one's quit, everyone's still there. They've all been with me the whole time. Like I have
I just love
very
watching CEOs praise their humans just to boost them their own esteem and their esteem up, while knowing this is leading to an abyss sooner or later.
I mean I don't I was honest with them. Look, things are looking grim, and I'm like I'm hoping we'll make it through.
No,
I've
but
got
I,
no
I mean
promises.
that humans are not scalable, and I'm pretty, you know that, like, but I mean
Yeah.
you're short term convincing yourself of the other way around. But I know that at least you're not hiring more. Um, like, yeah,
Not
stop
yet.
the
If
hemorrhage.
I Yeah, stop the bleeding there. I am not yet hiring again. If this sales engine I'm building works reliably, I will have to because I'll end up building up more business than I
Let's
can
call
take with my team.
this podcast the cancel agency pod or something like that. That'd be a better title. Anyway,
The
let's
cancel
run.
agency fund.
Yeah, let's run, man. Charles Cormier, charlescormier.com, toplisa agency, podbuyer.com,
Yeah,
and
and crowdtamers.com. Find me. As I said, I build $1 million marketing engines guaranteed. Go to crowdtamers.com, click the big green Let's Chat button. You'll talk to me.